Okay, welcome to Tanya Inside Out at G4 Tafshin Pei Hey, holding in chapter 8, and we're not doing a recap. Okay, this chapter we are discussing Klipas Timaeus in more detail, in real detail. Okay, we've established that the Klipa is the mechanism that Hashem chose to use to create free will. So now, what is free will? How comes we have free will? Because we have a sense of self. So now, if you're caught up in the graphics, if you're not a chassid, yeah? When I say a chassid, I don't mean this, I mean a chassid, yeah? Not chassidish, I mean a chassid. Yeah, if you're a chassid who's lifnim mishur sadin, who penetrates the graphics, that's all he's doing, she's doing all the time, is penetrating the graphics, you'll realize that the choice is so simple always. It's a choice between Hashem and myself. It's not this endless plethora of tivers and funny stuff that we're dealing with, yeah? We beat ourselves up over the whole time. And then we sit there with the list that I've done in the past, where for Yom Kippur you have your list, your sin list that you've written down with all your stuff, and then after Yom Kippur you burn it, and I've done all that, yeah? But that's missing the point, Lagamri. I saw a beautiful raya for that. We say, Al Chait Shechatanu Lefanecha. Yeah? Why not Al Chatoim Shechatanu Lefanecha? And also, what's Lefanecha? Why do you have to say that? Al Chatoim She'asinu. Al Chait, one, the singular that I did before you. And then we list things like Lashon Hora. You think you just did one Chait of Lashon Hora the whole year? Yeah, but that's not what you're doing tshuva for. Is not the Maisa of the thing. Tshuva is a realignment with the fact that you're not so important. That you are here to serve Him, not yourself. So although there's all these different, it's al chait. What's the chait? Shechatanu lefanecha. That's the chait. By the way, with any piyut from Chazal, that is, like Hoyd L'Shem Kitov Hoyd L'Shem, any Avinu Malkeinu, anything that says the same thing over and over and over and over again, yeah, is much more important. Like by Avinu Malkeinu, it's a meditation on those two words, Avinu Malkeinu. Everything else is an excuse to just keep saying Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu. You should always put the dagesh whenever there's a what's Halal Gadol? What do we say on Shabbos? Huh? Kilam Chastor. Yeah, Kilam Chastor, Kilam Chastor, Kilam Chastor. Anytime it's like that, always that's the ikka of the piyut. It's like it comes the opposite. You say Avinu Malkeinu, whatever it is, yeah. But it should be, the emphasis should be on Avinu Malkeinu. So I saw in Yeshua, which is one of the main places we learn about tshuva, with Ochan. Yeah, Ochan is like an army general. He stole. He was over. He was Machal Shabbos. I'm not sure it was Machal Shabbos. He took like shalal, booty, whatever you call it, booty, plunder, whatever he took, whatever he was the manager, and he said, actually wrote it down. He said,
By Yeshua?
What?
By Yeshua?
No, Yeshua.
By Yeshua, by Yericho.
Yeah, but exactly. Achan, I think it was by Yericho. He took stuff that he shouldn't have taken. Yeah, and
buried under his tent. Buried under his tent. Yeah.
And what?
He buried under his tent.
Yeah, something like that. And so he says when he's doing tshuva, and this is like a big makor for tshuva in the Torah, the pasuk says, "Amnam anoichi chatosi laHashem." I missed that a little bit. Ukazois asisi. Why ukazois asisi? Why not say what you did? Kazois asisi.
What does that mean?
Like
so
this and like that I did.
Specifying.
Kazois asisi. So and so, I did so and so. Literally, not I did so and so and explain what he did. It's just I did so and so. Because the Maisa Aveira is such a small part of the Aveira. With me? If you were properly aligned with the Ribono Shel Olam, yeah, then the Ma'aseh Avera wouldn't take place. Whatever your taifa is. You realise? It's like, so we're like hacking at the leaves by thinking we've got this issue, we're looking at the wrong stuff on the computer, and we shout at our wives, and we're not straight in our business, and I don't daven properly, and I'm a shachris, and and we're thinking about all these different things. You're like overwhelmed, like wow, yeah. When it's really just one issue, is you're not on board properly. You're not in. If you're in, then maybe you're going to have more of a pull to this, and I'm going to have more of a pull to that. That's for sure, yeah. But that's not the problem. That's there might be technical things we have to take care of, yeah. But the real problem is the fact that you're not in. You're not on the team. You're not working for Hashem properly yet. You don't see yourself as somebody who's working for the Ribono Shel Olam. So therefore, you've got your own agenda. So. So klipa is what that feeling of the fact that you exist as an independent being, that is a product of klipa. Okay? That is what klipa is for. Because tzimtzum...
In order to have klipa.
What?
In order to have free will in the end.
Yeah.
To choose the right thing.
Well, because don't forget, free will is always you're choosing between either you or him, Isbrach. That's it. Whether that choosing you is you're looking at the wrong thing on the computer, or you're shouting at the woman in the store, or you not putting on tefillin, or whatever the thing is, yeah? That's all you. You don't feel like putting on tefillin, not you. That person, he doesn't feel like putting on tefillin, or he feels like shouting at this person, or he feels like eating the milk and he only waited 2.5 hours after the meat. Yeah, he feels like it. It's always, that is what a hate is. Hate is Loshen missing the mark, yeah? What's the mark? Hashem's the mark. You went off a little bit. So it's a very important thing to know that. I mean, I've spoken about that many, many, many times. But that, to get that deep into your kishkas, to remember that is the issue, the real issue, that everything that you're doing is one. Really, the issue is two. That you think you're also number one. But that's the issue. So it just makes things a lot more simple. Really, it's so important to constantly seek the simplicity. Like, as a lot of people speak to me nowadays about all different kinds of things, and as I speak to them, it's apparent like the people who are talking to me like, about their issues are the ones with issues mainly, yeah. And you listen to people speak, and everything's so complicated. So complicated. Speak to the people who don't need to speak to me, yeah, because there are not so many issues and things are going kind of smooth, generally, there's no complications there. Even with very complicated maisim, things are very simple. So it's very important to stay the way the snake goes. Yeah, everyone's trying to get to here. A normal mensch, yeah, Yosha, Yisrael, Yosha, Kael, Yashar, Hebrews like that. The snake goes like this. That's how a snake goes there. That's the derech of the snake, to make everything complicated. So things aren't complicated. Nothing important is complicated. Yeah, there can be a Misa that's complicated, but you'll notice if you get through the complexity, that inside it's always very simple. Very simple. It really is. So that's again called Lifnim Mishosidin. So Hashem used this thing that he calls Klipa to create the world. There's two ways of stopping down. There were kind of two pa'ulas in a sense that Hashem needed to do, so to speak, to create the world. Yeah, one was called Tzimtzum and one was called Hestapanim. Okay, Tzimtzum didn't create Klipa. Tzimtzum gave rise to creation or reality, but no klipa. Meaning that if there was only tzimtzum and there was no hestapanim, hestapanim by the way is klipa, yeah? Go on? Yeah, maybe there was no hestapanim, but either way, whenever that happened, yeah.
It's without a klipa.
It's without klipa.
Hashem just needs you to choose to come closer to Hashem, and then boom, it's done. But we are already past. Everything is klipa.
So I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe, but the point what I'm trying to make is a little bit before there is that Tzimtzum is a stopping down on the quantity of light, which means that if you put a Tzimtzum on this window, yeah, you put a blind. You know the Israeli blinds that you go down, and then at one point there's just like loads of little slats, and then that drop more, and it's just and there's no light whatsoever. Yeah. So those little slats, that's like the ultimate Tzimtzum, in the moshel. Yeah. Then if there was, let's say, just one of them, now you still know that it's daylight outside. You see the quality of the light. There's only a teeny bit of it, but you know that it's daylight. Now what happens if you put like a filter over that light? Now you don't know that it's daylight anymore. It could be tungsten light, it could be candle light, it could be whatever it is, it could be something else, yeah? That's Hestapanim. That's Hestapanim. So Tzimtzum is a din on Kamas, and Hestapanim is a din on Eichus. A din on quantity and on quality. So if you block down Hashem's infinite light, yeah, I don't know, but maybe you could have, maybe, I could argue both ways, maybe you could have a physical world, but you would be like you'd be like a malach. You would be like a god robot. You wouldn't have any sense of self.
If there was no Hestapanim.
If there's no Hestapanim, exactly. If there's just Tzimtzum, there could be a creation. I don't know what that would look like. If it would be a physical creation, I don't know. Yeah, but there would be something. Yeah, there would be something other than God, or something that appears to be other than God. But that thing that appears to be other than God would not feel itself to be other than God. You with me? Yeah.
Right.
So Klipa is Hestapanim. Hestapanim and Klipa are synonymous. They're different, maybe in different contexts, but they're talking about the same thing. Yeah. So Klipa is the mechanism that Hashem allows you to feel that you are alone, and that's actually, just to go very like deep and on a psychological note, is the problem. That is the problem. Is feeling alone. That's Klipa. Feeling alone in every way, meaning in a relationship when you feel alone. That is what Klipa is. Klipa is the feeling of being alone. Yeah, because that's what Klipa does. It surrounds like a Klipa of an orange or banana or whatever, yeah, or an egg. It delineates the egg, and now that egg is alone. It's separate from all other eggs. That's, by the way, this is my thought when by Shlach. Yeah, what did we say that we thought we were?
Grasshoppers.
Grasshoppers. What's the ear of a grasshopper?
Quite small.
What?
It's quite small.
There's a lot of small stuff. The grasshopper has what's called an exoskeleton.
So what?
It has what's called an exoskeleton, meaning it doesn't have bones. A grasshopper is a Klipa. It's the whole inyan of it. It's like a live egg, in a sense, the way it is.
Like the nails, it has a...
Exactly. It's defined. But the point is that it's self-defined. That was the issue of
Interesting.
Shlach.
Wow, nice.
That was the issue. That was my own thought. I mean, why a grasshopper? That was the inyan. So that's my thought. That fits in with the whole inyan.
Wow, very clean thought.
Okay, so now Klipa, which is the wall that allows you to feel separate, yes, or alone. There's two kinds of those walls, as we said many times. Yeah, there's called Klipas Noiga and Klipas Tameas. Gimel Klipas Tameas. Okay, the difference is that Klipas Noiga allows in a bit of light, like translucent window. Klipas Tameas is opaque, like this table is opaque, although it's not Klipas Tameas, this is Klipas Noiga, but it's the idea that you can't see any light through it. Things that are forbidden to a yid are Klipas Tameas. Anything that is forbidden, yeah, Doiraisa or D'Rabbanan, gets its life force from Klipas Tameas. Anything is permissible, gets its life force from Klippas Noiga. Well, really, I'm going to explain this in a minute. It doesn't get its life force from Klippas Noiga. Klippa has no life force to it. It means it channels its life force, which is always Kedusha, through the Klippa. Yeah, and then we have something that's Kadosh, which it is channeling its energy from Kedusha without it bypasses Klippa. Okay, it's just a tzimtzum. Okay, so this is an amazing mashal. I think we said this mashal. Did we say the mashal about the stream and the lake and the swamp?
I don't think so.
No, this is a really, really important mashal. Okay, so you have this pristine stream running down a mountain. Yeah, huh? Mama's crisp, like look, the kind of thing that right now you want to splash your face with. Yeah, cold, crisp, crystal clear water streaming down the mountain. Yeah, someone comes along. It has to actually be a Jew in the mashal. A Jew comes along. He takes a stick and he starts being choikek, like scratching, kind of a channel. Yeah, how does it in Hebrew? Scratching, making a furrow. I don't know what the verb for furrowing is. He furrowizes. Yeah, so he creates a little channel for this pristine stream of water.
Carving.
Yeah, and the water creates a channel. And now the water starts to channel out from the stream. There's also water streaming there as well, but now a lot of the water starts coming out of the stream, and it starts to flood the meadow. It starts to come out and starts to collect. Yeah, and it becomes a swamp. And it stinks, and it's full of mosquitoes and crocodiles and all kinds of disgusting creatures. Yeah, that is the mashal. What? Leeches. Yeah, very good. That's very important. Yeah, leeches. Yeah.
Goldfish.
No.
Listen to this though. Regardless, this mashal it's got godless and so many Vegas. But listen to this. What is a dried up swamp called?
Desert field.
No, it's called
A dried up swamp, you said a field? Yeah, like a meadow. Yeah, a meadow or field. A dried up swamp is a grassland. What makes the swamp disgusting?
It's all the way around.
Water.
dried up swamp.
It was a grassland, and I know.
So it's dried out.
By the way, but then the water
Yeah,
comes in
but,
and then it dries out and it reverts back to a grassland. That's actually a really nice. That's a nice nuance put into. You can think about that as we finish the mashal. Very good. What makes a swamp disgusting?
Dirty water.
Clean water.
Too much.
The water, the
lack of-
lichus, the wetness of the water is what turns the meadow into a swamp.
Too much of it. A little bit you need. It's the excellent.
Well, there's actually that. Yes,
That's the proper
yeah.
irrigation, the proper draining.
That's the ikka limit is that every that's really the ikka. What you said is also very good, but that's really the ikka limud. You're jumping ahead of that's the next stage. But if you look, what's the difference between a swamp and a stream? Is that at every stage of a stream there's mashpia makabel, mashpia makabel, mashpia makabel. It's mashpia. The stage next is makabel, and that's mashpia, and that's makabel, mashpia makabel, mashpia. Mashpia makabel means that there's no build-up and stagnation of the water. Yeah, when the water collects in the grassland, that kedusha, it's the kedusha of the stream is kedusha. That's the kedusha flowing from Hashem. Yeah, that's the emastika life force coming from Hashem. When it's chapped by a stagnant receiver,
Oh, nice.
Not being a giver.
without being a giver, it becomes a swamp. And that's disgusting.
Yeah. Mazel tov means good flow, really. Should have good flow.
Very good, yeah. Everything's about a flow, yeah. Oh, that's very good for a Hassan Kala, Mazel Tov. That's what a Hassan Kala is. That's a flow.
Stagnant receiver.
So now, well, let's go a little bit further. So now, how do you revert the swamp back? And this is everything we were just talking about before.
nice.
How do you get the swamp back to a grassland?
You got to change the terrain. You got to put some hills, and you
Just
change
stop.
the
Build a
movement.
little dam. Build a little dam where that guy originally was choikek, and that stream, the water there, create a little dam, and that water will eventually dry up and disappear, and it will revert back to a. The problem is that kedusha is being channeled into klipa.
Yeah.
The minute we get a hold of ourselves and we stop doing aveiros, yeah, and we start doing mitzvahs, yeah, that dams up the stream, and the swamp just goes away. That's just how it works.
So
Now it dams up the
It blocks the
exit,
movement.
Dams. So yeah, it fills the koisel of the stream, so the water can't spill out into the swamp anymore, and eventually it just goes away. That's why our avoida is not in klipas tameus. Our avoida, the avoida of the yid, is in klipas noiga. How do you elevate a chazir?
They're not eating it.
Yeah, you can't. You don't really elevate the chazir by not eating. I suppose you do a little bit. But you elevate yourself, but either way, you can't elevate a chazir like you can elevate a cow. So anything that's asa, yeah, we if we can stop any flow going to that, yeah, if we can take a hold of ourselves and stop the flow going from that, it just disappears. And you'll see that on a micro level and a macro level in your own life as well. If you, I'm telling you, it works on every single, this is MS, it works on every strata of reality, yeah? If you can start controlling yourself in the permissible, yeah, then you will not have to worry about the forbidden. I mean, it sounds like just a Pasha Kal V'chomer anyway, but that's how it is. If you can start, that's what the Rebbe says also in chapter 27, that you, the book is, the Tanya is kind of vague whether or not you can become a tzaddik or not. It sounds like at the beginning of Tanya that you can't become a tzaddik. You can just become a very elevated Jew, a very choshev beinoni who's never doing aveiros and always doing mitzvahs. But if Hashem, to actually become a tzaddik where your inner world becomes aligned with God, yeah, that's like a kind of matana from Shemayim. That's what he says early on in the book. Then chapter 27, he says that if you take on the fight of what's mutter to you, if you start being mekadesh yourself in the world of what's mutter, for example, yeah, you just don't say something that you want to say. To most people, that is unthinkable. Something pops into your mind to say something, and it not asa, just to say something. Yeah, is anyone going to get anything from this? Is it beneficial? Is it, especially if it's like a funny joke? Yeah, that you could argue, yeah, but it's going to add like lightness, and maybe it will. But a lot of times, it could even make people feel, well, I wish I had thought of that. That was really funny. Yeah. So bite your tongue. I'm saying that if you want to say something that is permissible, yeah, that is one of the avoiders the Rebbe recommends. Or delaying eating. You're going to eat at a certain time, yeah, just push it off for an hour and be involved in Torah mitzvahs or whatever it is, yeah. Again, just he explains about being mekadesh yourself and what's permissible, and then he explains that will actually, he says if you do that, then you'll become a tzaddik, which I never realized until just now that he said that.
How does it technically work? It sounds very nice, but also for me it sounds amazing. But how does it technically
What's
work?
mekadesh yourself with what's mutter?
If I hold myself back a half an hour from something I want to eat, it's mutter. Create something in the spiritual. How does it?
No, forget that. I mean, maybe it does, but forget that. Just you. You got to control. You got to control yourself.
And what?
And what?
What? Yeah,
You
just
just
Bonus
harnessed.
points.
You just harnessed the beast. You just harnessed your lower side. You just took control of the. You watch people who are. Watch people who are nebuch people, yeah, and that doesn't mean their life is hard. Yeah, I know people whose lives hard who are not nebuch, and I know people whose lives are not hard who are nebuch. Yeah, look at nebuch people, and they don't have any shlita. It's without. That's really what being nebuch is. They don't have shlita over themselves. And then I was just saying this in the previous year. Why is Bein Adam Chavera? I'm not asking this because you'll say other things will also be correct. I've learned this over the years now. When I ask people a question, they'll give me correct answers. It wasn't what I was wanting to hear, so I'm just going to say it. Yeah, why is Bein Adam Chavera a prerequisite for Bein Adam Makom? Okay, we've said this many times, but one of the ways of understanding it is I said that wrong. Why is Bein Adam La'atzmoi a prerequisite for Bein Adam L'Chaveiro? Bein Adam L'Chaveiro is a valid prerequisite for Bein Adam L'Makom. Why? Because if I can't appreciate that you're a Metzias, you're a bus of Adam Metzias, real, your mama's real, you don't exist in context of me, then Kal V'chomer, the silent, invisible creator, he's not going to be a Metzias. It's a Kal V'chomer. That's one of the most profound Kal V'chomers you could ever come up with. If I don't appreciate you as a real thing, yeah, well then how am I going to appreciate that Hashem's real? That's literally that is like an infinite Kal V'chomer. Yeah, you can't get over that. But why is Bein Adam La'atzmoi a hachana for Bein Adam L'Chaveiro? So Bein Adam La'atzmoi is basically about building self-trust. Yeah, that you trust yourself, that you respect yourself. How'd you do that? 4 words.
Make promises.
Making and keeping promises. Square.
It's great. It's the best.
Let me ask you a question. Let's say you make a promise. It's always the same thing. It's things that are important but not urgent. So, for example, you make a promise or you want to get fit. Things that people have a problem with, yeah? Do people have you never hear anybody, whatever. You want to get fit, yeah? People have a problem with going and do exercise. Why do you want to be fit? Why do you want to work out? Not why do you want to be fit. Why do you want to work out so you can be fit? Why do you want to be fit?
You want to be healthy, you want to
Feel good, look good.
Feel good, look good. Let's say feel good, look good. Let's make it mamash narcissistic. Look good. Yeah? You're someone out in wherever it is and you've got no ruchnius at all. You just want to look good. Yeah?
looking good is also important in Ruchnius.
Wait, let's keep it. No, listen. We'll make the limud even stronger. Right? A person who's doing something that is hard to do, so that they, for some selfish benefit later.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not a good person. They are just, and this is the key. They are putting themselves to the side, and they are giving to their future self.
Mm-hmm.
That's already a level of selflessness. Giving to your future self. That's already a madrega in selflessness. That's why self-mastery is a prerequisite to Bein Adam L'Chaveroi. Bein Adam L'Atzmo means that you can grab a hold of yourself and say, you know, like how many of you, yeah, I'm included in this, I'll put my hand up as well. How many of you eat before you go to bed, knowing full well you're going to wake up in the morning with all kinds of bathroom complications? Yeah?
The skinniest one on one.
That kind of selflessness covered in Klipa.
Yeah. It's not.
It comes from
the fact that you cannot.
My ego, my narcissism.
It's just a chachana.
Right.
It's just a chachana for selflessness.
But it's such a bad selflessness.
I'll tell you, it's worse. It's worse to indulge in the food right now than to be able to invest in your future self. It's not selfless, but it's a bechina of selfless.
It's like going, so you're saying
putting yourself aside, putting your immediate now self aside.
So it's great.
What?
Best now for the future.
That's it. Yeah. It's not hurry.
It's narcissistic.
It's not. That's what I'm trying to say.
It's like someone looking for spirituality goes to India. It's better to do this than not look for any spirituality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, you could argue that there's another side to that. What you said, but let's.
Better than having not.
But so to not eat, yeah, it's not good to eat the piece of chocolate cake stum. Forget what you're going to look like, yeah. Why do you want to indulge your?
Especially right before you go to bed. I mean,
that's just stupid.
Right.
That's literally that's
self-destructive.
And that's who Narcissus was. Narcissism. What was the story of? Is the thing's name was Narcissus. Narcissus. Either way, a narcissist came from called Narcissus or something.
Yes.
What was the story of him?
He was looking in the Let me spell it. NAR.
Either way, what was the story?
CISSUS.
We don't need to dwell on narcissism. What was the story?
Well, he was looking. He fell in love with his mirror image in the water, and then drowned himself.
No. The way I heard it was like this. He starved to death.
He fought his mirror image in the water and drowning fit.
No. So the way I think the story goes like this, the way I understand it, is that he saw the image in the mirror, in the water. He became so enamored by how gorgeous he was, that he starved to death. He forgot to eat and starved to death. That's the Indian of narcissism. Narcissism means that I can't even give to my future self.
Wow, that's great.
That is the ultimate level of selfishness. Is I can't even give to my future self. Step out. That's before Schava Oynesh. Schava Oynesh means that's why it's definitely not the preferred by a long, long way. That's a very big understatement. It's not the preferred avoider. In Avodas Hashem. But if you're able to say to yourself, I'm not going to eat that. It's better to not eat that extra piece of cake because you think you're going to get Gehenna in 80 years from now than eating that extra piece of cake. Just a little bit better. But it's better. Because you're putting your right now self aside, who's much more... A kid can't do that. You say to him, listen, you eat that marshmallow, 80 years from now, they're going to be burning you and whipping you and like whatever, It's like, how long? You can say that as well. That's lots of meanings as well. But exactly. So that's a level of selflessness. Is the ability to invest in yourself.
You had choose called a test experiment. You take a kid, put him in the room, the marshmallows.
I saw that.
But marshmallows, if you wait 5 minutes, you come back, you don't eat, I'll give you 2.
Yeah, and they went on years later, and they saw that all the kids who were able to put it aside became like Hosher people, and the opposite as well. So you need to work things like that. So that was just it's horrible hearing these things because now all of a sudden you don't need therapy and you don't need like big meditational retreats. You don't need to know all of Shas. You're able to start work right now. You're able to make real. I gave a moshul last night, actually this morning. It's not my moshul, but it's important. It's a beautiful moshul, and I just now realised. I think the meaning of it is that the story of the stone cutter. You heard the story of the stone cutter?
He wants to be something else all the time.
What?
He always wants to be something else.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. So he's a little old man. Yeah. He's at the bottom. Is a massive, massive rock, huge rock in front of him.
The dad tells him to bring it to the top of the mountain, and he tries to push it.
No. I'm sure there's lots of mosh of the stone cutter. He's chiseling away.
He knows he doesn't finish.
No. He's chiseling away. I'm going to go to ChatGPT this afternoon and ask him to give me as many stories of a stone cutter.
There's no way.
There's no end. So this guy's chiseling away at this massive, massive rock, and it's boiling hot. It's like like a couple of weeks ago how hot it was the other. It's like crazy hot, and he's like melting. And he looks up, and the sun is pounding down, and he davens to Hashem. And he's like, Hashem, make me the sun. I want to be the sun. So all of a sudden he's the sun, and he's pounding down, pouring his warmth and energy and light all over the world, and he's loving it. He feels like the greatest thing in the world. And all of a sudden, a bunch of clouds come and block him, and he's all upset, like, this is ridiculous. I thought I had Shlita. And then he davens again, and he's Hashem, I want to be the clouds, So now he's the clouds who's blocking the sun, and he's mamash covering the entire world, and he feels even more powerful. And then all of a sudden he feels this wind, this force that he can't resist, and he's getting blown away. And he says, Hashem, I want to be the wind. So now he's the wind, the most powerful of everything. Except he bangs into a rock, which he just can't move. This rock is just absolutely stationary. He just can't move it. He turns on to Hashem and says, okay, I want to be the rock. That was it. And he's the rock, monolithic and absolute, unmoving, nothing, And he hears a little tapping at the bottom. He looks down and he sees the little stone carver chipping away at his feet. That's our moshul. Is we are looking. I mean, if you've sat with me for more than one class, we talk about these micro behaviors that they call it the compound effect. It's called the compound effect. Micro behaviors.
The paper towel effect.
The paper towel. Great. I love that. Yeah. It also it's the opposite way. I heard some guy say it's called death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard that expression?
Yeah, sure, it's great.
Yeah, that's a great expression.
Great expression.
Yeah, but we're talking about life through one tissue. That's it. Taking one tissue at a time. Yeah, like these teeny easy. Like today, just now, I parked my car and I took up to. I was like a bit far away from the car behind me, and I realised I'd taken the other spot as well. So I got back in my car, turned it on, and it was actually right again. Like Hashem will do this to you all the time, yeah? It was against the curb, so I couldn't just reverse back. So I had to go out a little bit, turn out, come back, and then come back again, yeah? And I gave a little bit more space. Like, how difficult is that? You don't need to go on some 5-day retreat to grow. Like and that's it. The tapping away at the bottom of the rock. That's how you do it. And we constantly want to be the sun and the clouds and the wind and everything. And it's just work out the micro behaviors. I give you like the Tao thing. Yeah, that's my thing. You could come up with 1 million of your own little micro behaviors, micro missions, micro behaviors, micro missions. Like you want a really good one, really easy one. I'm sure I said this before. Knocking on every door before you walk in.
Mm-hmm.
Even your own office. Yeah, you just give it as you open the door, give it a little tap. Yeah, that's just. Again, accustoms you to appreciating that maybe there's somebody inside, and you just become a little more selfless. It's so easy. It's just so easy. And all of these acts, they compound, and before you know it, you're a multi-millionaire. And you don't care that you become a multi-millionaire as well. That's the amazing bit. You're not looking to become a millionaire. You're looking to just not keep taking that extra tissue because the gavai is having to mamash go crazy to get
it. Because I've worked so much on my rock. So little many chisels.
Oh, very nice. Become off. Okay, so everything that is forbidden is called is from Klipas Nes, and that's called bound. That's called asur. Yeah, asur means it's tied up. You can't release it. That's what matir asur means. Yeah, it's bound up. You can't release it.
In the swamp muscle, is it saying also
in the what muscle?
In the swamp muscle.
The what muscle?
Swamp
muscle, yeah.
Is it better, meaning when you have Tuma with Kedusha, that's worse than Tuma alone? Because there the Kedusha made it into the swamp before it was dry.
Yeah. There is no tumah without the kedusha. That was the whole point. Before the water pours into the swamp's a meadow. It's the water that falls into that place.
You have my race, but then you're using that for Torah.
So now
Torah is worse. It's better to not have Torah when it's fueled by my chalas or no?
No. So there's madregas to say if it's lakante. If you're learning Torah, not you, if somebody's learning Torah, not to be a Talmud Chochem, but lekanta, to hurt somebody, then it's better not to. But Leo's Talmud Chochem, yeah, it's better to do that. It's better to learn Torah Leo's Talmud Chochem than to not learn Torah, even though that's a selfish klipatika reason. But that's because it's a klipas noigadika.
No, I'm asking if it's fueled by mechalas asuris.
So if you're that's what we're about to talk about. So there's two sides. Number one, I don't think you were saying this, but if a person's learning Torah to hurt someone, yeah, he's learning Torah to upschlag, to cause problems, yeah. So then it's better that he doesn't learn Torah. Yeah, that's lakante. It's better that he was strangled by the umbilical cord before he was born. Yeah. But you're asking different. You're saying, what if a guy eats chazir and he doesn't know, and then he goes to the base medrash?
Or he knows.
Let's say he doesn't know. Let's make it even. Let's lift up the. He doesn't know. Like Rahmanas, what's happened in America a bunch of times. Russia becomes the butcher of the town. Yeah, and everyone's eating chafe meat. So what happens there? If a guy's eating chafe meat, he's a tzaddik. He doesn't know that it's chafe. And now he goes and he is over the Shem. This is exactly what these are the words of the Tanya. Exactly here. Misha ochel maicho iso b'loy hoida l'shem shemayim la'avoid Hashem b'koyach achilahi. Yeah, he's eating he eats a maicho something treif without knowing lishma, and he goes and he does his avodas Hashem. Yeah, it doesn't. So this is the point. What you see that I'm involved right now. Yeah, there's heat coming off of me. Yeah, and there's words coming out of my mouth. That's all energy. Yeah, the words are always hot as well because the heat of the mouth. It's all to do with heat. Yeah, all of that is going up.
He rises.
Yeah, and that's the inyan of the korbanos, which is all with Aish. Yeah, it's taking this world, and that's why the chassid is sarfon. He burns the nails. That's what the chassid is doing. He's being ma'aleh the klipa. You're ma'aleh the klipa by burning it. Yeah. So there has to be. You've got the keli, which is the words. These are the kelim. Yeah, they're made of oisius, and then you have the heat, which is the energy. Yeah. Now that energy, if I ate Eidah Chareda's beef, is compatible with the kalim, which is the oisius. This is the answer to your question. Energy that comes from treif food is not compatible with that kli. It's like, maybe as a moshe, I never thought this before, maybe trying to put water in a tissue. It just doesn't work. Yeah? Or trying to wipe your nose with plastic. Also just doesn't work. Yeah? You need the right keli for the right ore.
So it's not worse, but it's just futile. So
So Kavon is not everything.
Well, I don't know the answer to this question, but what would you think is
Kavon
better?
not everything.
What?
Kavon is not always necessarily everything.
Kavana
Right,
is
Kavon is not the right. It's not everything. You need
It's
to-
not everything. It's
you need to
tougher.
guess-
Kavana in Alta Kufa is
It
tougher.
makes things worse. If you put good water into a stagnant area, it ruins it.
No, wait, let me ask you a question.
Pour water into a tissue, it's going to be a mess. You rip it, it's going to fall apart.
Yeah, but
it's going to be okay. It's not just.
Well, wait, I don't know the answer to this question. But this is what I think you're asking: is that what would be better to eat chazir that you don't know, yeah, and then go and learn for 3 hours, or to eat chazir that you don't know and then go surfing for 3 hours? That's your question, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know. I could argue both ways. I don't know. I would imagine, just my gut feelings, it'd be better to learn Torah. But it's like, I would maybe argue, like, they say with Rebbeinu Tam, that you make people sometimes, you wear Rebbeinu Tam? You wear Rebbeinu Tam? How often you wear Rebbeinu Tam? Rebbeinu Tam?
No. Sure.
Rebbeinu Tam? How long have you been wearing Rebbeinu Tam for?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. How many times have you mistakenly made a broch on them?
Like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. So there's an inyan by the tzaddikim that those brochas are not then. What?
You should make the mistake once.
You have to make the mistake. Yeah, exactly. It's been mekadesh.
Wait, you're supposed to make a bracha?
No. You're not allowed to make a brocha. But I've heard tzaddikim say that brocha, if you're toyer and you make a brocha by Rebbeinu Tam, it's not a bad thing. Yeah. You're not allowed to make a
It's a
brocha.
good thing. You should make the right mistake once. Make a bracha every time. You should make that mistake.
Some say, yeah, Hashem will
So
mazman.
what's the
That's
reason
one
for
of
that?
one of the good chassidim says Hashem will mazman for tzaddik to make a bracha by tzaddik.
This is exactly
What's the
what it is.
reason for that?
What?
What's the reason for that?
Because the shita, the Shemana actually holds according to Rebbeinu Tam to make a bracha on it, yeah.
According to Rebbeinu Tam, you're not allowed to make a brocha on Rashi.
So the Commander Rebbe in Shulchan Torah, he paskins halacha. You have
The
to make a
Commander
bracha.
Rebbe.
The Commander, yeah, Shulchan
He
Torah.
paskins what?
They have to make a bracha on Rebbeinu Tam.
Okay, but you're not allowed. You're not allowed to.
No, he said that's
Yeah, you're not allowed, but they like what you said is that the tzaddikim have said that if you're toyer by mistake you say a brocha, yeah, it's not a bad thing. So we're asking a question. The question's like this: yeah?
happened to me
A
once.
guy
I
is
was very excited about it.
That's happened to me loads of times.
It was amazing. No, because it says Reish, Tav, Reish, and Yud. So if you wake up in the morning, you're all groggy and everything, and you just grab one of them and you realize that you just.
Ration, Rashi.
Yeah, they both have Reish at the beginning. So you just grab it,
Or you put it on first.
Put on first.
I
Yeah.
put it on second, but it's
Reish
rough
and
because
Yud.
it's just,
I thought it was my Rashi.
Wait. Which one Ration Yud? What are you talking about Ration
No,
Yud?
I saw it in the time.
Yeah.
And I just.
the Reish was on the back. And Rashi and Berentam look the same.
It's the same.
Oh, because a little Yud, like a Reish is
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
little
it's-
Yud. A Yud is like a
it's
little
the same,
Reish.
so it's-
Okay.
So put it first, and then.
So
What was the question?
the question's like this, yeah? The question's like this. A guy eats treif meat. Yeah? Chas v'shalom. He's a tzaddik. He eats it lishma. He doesn't know it's treif. What's better? That he now goes to the Beis Medrash and learns for 3 hours, or he goes surfing for 3 hours?
You go learn.
You would think so. I would think so also. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. That's a great
Why should
question.
you go surfing?
What? Or maybe that energy is,
Did you
if
see
it
that
goes
energy?
into Torah, it's mamash a treifa.
But it's not by accident.
What?
It's by accident.
But there's a mitzvah to the.
What is amazing?
What if it's right? What if it's on
What's
purpose?
amazing? If it's showing that it is,
Yeah,
it's
it's on purpose.
So then he can't elevate it if it's on purpose. Unless he does the tshuva. There's a tremendous tshuva and ava and crying and that. And then he could, but I don't.
Again, I would assume like what we're saying, it'd be better because again, how are you maleh chazir? One, I can think a couple of ways, a few ways. One is if a person is pekuach nefesh, is going to die, you need to eat chazir. Yeah, there's only chazir around, so eat that, and that's already mutter now. Another way is your Mexican home help, yeah, who eats chazir, who comes to your house and is poil in your house so that you can have Shabbos, etc. Yeah. That would be another way of being maleh, but it can't be directly lifted up. So the way he says it actually here is interesting. I've never heard anyone be medayek from the lashon this, but this is it's a careful lashon. He says here. He says, yeah, Shabbat over Hashem. He eats treif lishma to be over Hashem. The gam pov asachein. He actually goes and does the avodas. Yeah, because and he learns. He davens. Listen to this. That the energy, the chiyas that's in it, does not go up and become clothed in the words of the Torah, kamoi haheta, like heta.
It goes up.
I don't know.
Like
all he says is like heta. He doesn't go up like heta. So I've always, every time I read that, I go like doing. I want to know what you're saying, Rebbe. Tell me what you're saying there. Give me the mechanics. Anyway, so that's like kamoi haheta. These are the kinds of things we need to be mamish discussing with people. These are the Yiddish conversations. This is what the whole Gemara is. It's just people from 2,000 and 1,500 years ago, like us, sitting at a table in a base medrash, discussing stuff. Yeah, but now it's like we're not allowed to do that. You have to just read. Anyway. Yeah. So now he talks about the shoresh of the nefesh bahamis of a yid is from klipas noiga. The shoresh of the nefesh bahamis of a goy is from klipas tameus. So that's our humanity. That accounts for us being human. Okay. A yid is a composite of a human being and a neshama. A neshama is not yid. A neshama is not Yisrael. A neshama is a neshama. You have malachim, you have neshamas, you have chalos, you have spheres. You have all different kind of ruchnis to hazachin, yeah. And a neshama that is attached to a human being is called Yisrael. And by definition, that human being needs to be from noiga, because you can't elevate klipas tameus. So when you're doing mitzvahs. Yeah, because all your mitzvahs basically include your goof, which includes your nefesh bahamis, your energy. That is getting rectified because it's klipas noiga, so it's mutter. It can go up, whereas klipas tameus, it wouldn't be compatible with nishmas Yisrael bichlal. Nishmas Yisrael wouldn't have anything to do in a klipas tameus with a klipas tameus nefesh. It can't be malet. So. Because the humanity of a Jew is from klipas noiga, he has what's called shindoladim. There's what's called shindoladim yehudoyim and shindoladim nucharoyim. Yeah, I learn. Although both my rebbes say shade, they don't say shindolad. But I learned many years ago from someone who's not a rebbe to say shindolad. So that's just my. What?
Isn't that a political party?
I hope it was a Shin Gimel even. They won't even say Shindalit.
Oh wow, that's okay.
Yeah.
So my initials are Shindal. My initials are Shindal.
You're almost Shem Shaka, you have the Shalosh.
So my acronym is Rush Buffy, which is basically nearly Rush Me just for extra pay. Anyway, so
no, Boomaf, they're interchangeable. Boomaf are interchangeable. Bet and pay are interchangeable. And say it's here, the same.
Yeah.
So Boomaf, Bet, Vov, Mem, Pay.
What's that?
Boomaf.
Yeah.
Those are the letters. Those osios.
Oh, of Rashbi.
No,
Oh, but of the from the lips. Yeah.
So it could be the Helig Rashbi.
No, because it's my father is 5ish Yitzchak. So it's a pay that so it's Rush. Buffy.
Rashbi.
Rush Buffy.
I don't even know.
With the pay, that's your pay. Anyway.
The Indian, Rush Buffy.
Yeah, it's cute.
Should stop.
But what's cool? What's the Shindaladim Yehudim, and this is really really important to know, is that the natural demons of a Jew. If a Jew has not been tainted by Galus, which means going out amongst the Klippas Tameas, amongst Olim, yeah, a factory, what's it called? A factory settings, a Yid who's running with factory settings has no taiva for anything osa. His taiva is to indulge in the permissible. That's called Shindaladim Yehudoyim, Jewish demons. Huh? Yep, that's what he says. Who yates Sahara Shalumas? So he says that's the L'chayna yates Sahara v'koyach misav le'devarim asurim who shindolad b'shindoladim nuchuroyim shehu yates Sahara Shalumas ha'olam shneshleseihem mishloish klips tameis. Then the fashas come from mishloish klips tameis. Yemasha ein ken yates Sahara v'koyach misav le'devarim hamutarim. Yeah, for things that are mutter, lemalas tavasoi, to fill his tithers, who shindolad b'shindolad in Yehudoyim lefisha yochol lachzor lekadusha ketlaeu. The yids. Now this is a moedika thing to know, yeah, because if you are struggling with something that's osa, you have to know that is a foreign demon. That makes things much easier. If you are struggling, I've met over my years, I've met people struggling with the Avera of Mishkav Zocha, yeah? From Yidden who are struggling with that Avera, yeah? You have to know that is not you. That is not you. It can't be. Even with all of the research and hachlotas and things that they've done and the chikiras by the Chochmei Umois Ha'olam, yeah? If you are a Yid, that is a borrowed, that is a teva sheni that you have taken on, and therefore it's much easier to let go of. There's an amazing moshel for this. Amazing moshel.
It's easy to do it because it's not me.
What?
It's easy to do it. It's not me.
An amazing moshel for this is the moshel of the sword. Yeah, this is mamash apropos for right now for Elu. The sword. I've given over the sword moshel before. I don't know. This is maybe even more important than the stream moshel. Yeah, the sword moshel. This is mamash for. This is the moshel of tshuva. This is one of my favorite moshelim. Okay, you find this old sword, yeah, buried in the mud, an antique sword, yeah, buried in the mud. It's been in the mud for years and years and years. Yeah, you get on your hands and knees and you extract it from the mud. Yeah, now you're holding this sword. It's caked in sods of mud. Massive hunks of mud, yeah? You can't even see it's a sword. There's a little remez, a little bit of metal is poking out here and there, yeah? But otherwise it's completely covered with mud, yeah? What do? Is you grab a rock and you bang off the pieces of mud. The mud falls away instantaneously. Na'ela, mamash, very, very easily. And now you can see it's a sword. That's a massive difference. And with minimum effort, you just knock away the mud and maximum result. Yeah? Now you see it before you didn't even know it was a sword. Could have been a sword, but you weren't sure, yeah? Okay, that's stage one. Now the next stage is you've got the mud that's still clinging to the blade, yeah? So now you have to get some hot water and some what do you call it, like economical, whatever you want to call it, yeah? And you get shmata, yeah? And you have to clean off the schmutz, yeah? Now that takes a lot more energy than the initial tap, 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 yeah? And the result is much less. You saw it was a sword. You still see it's a sword. It's now a little bit. It's cleaner, but it's so you're now putting in more effort for less of a result. What's the next stage? Now the blade is much tarnished. It's stained. Yeah, now you have to get the boiling water, and you have to get the Brillo pad thing, and you have to get whatever kind of crazy homer you have to put on the gloves, and now you're mamash scowling it, mamash. A lot of work and sweat, yeah? And what's the difference? It's a clean sword. It's mamash a clean sword. Before it was a dirty sword. Before you didn't even know it was a sword. Much less of a difference than the previous avoider, and kal v'chomer from the initial knocking off the mud. Yeah. So that's the motion. I had a kasha for many years.
Fine tuning.
What?
Fine tuning.
Fine tuning. Now,
There's a lot more work to get it from a regular novice to professional. It's slight, but that's what makes all the difference.
now what's the next avoider? Sharpening the sword.
Sharpening the blade.
Now I learned, the first time I heard this moshul, not the Metzias. I had the sharpening the sword. If you want to go with the moshul, sharpening the sword would be an incredibly hard avoider, and you don't even see any difference. But the difference is ultimate, because a blunt sword, what's a blunt sword worth, So you don't even see a difference, and you work crazy hard, But I found out that no, sharpening the sword is the easiest part of the whole thing. So it breaks the whole thing down,
Gotta find a new muscle.
What?
Gotta find a new muscle.
No, not
It's
at
all
all.
ages.
It's much more delicious. That's lishma. Lishma is a result of the hard work you did before. Meaning there is no avoider to becoming lishma. The avoider is the one paper towel. The avoider is all the hard work you did up until that point, and then as a matana, the Rabbanu Shalom will give you a sharp sword. And what's the difference between a sharp sword and a blunt sword? Infinite difference. Moedi. That's the avoider. That's getting the shema. So that's a big chizuk for anybody who is stuck in anything that is asa. And I know in our door there's a lot of us who are stuck in things that are asa. Is you have to emphatic. You have to be emphatic with this. This Avera is not you. It can't be you by definition. This is something that has attached itself to you. And therefore, it's much easier than dealing with, when it comes to being Makadish yourself with your wife, with eating, with davening, with all these things that are in the world of the Jew, now that's a big avoider, that's hard, because that is you. But when it's an Avera, it's something it's called a Teva Sheni. It was taken on. And you not only do you have to let go of it, but it's much easier to let go of it than you might think. It's like when somebody stops, when you stop smoking cigarettes. If anyone smokes cigarettes, you'll know that when you're smoking cigarettes, you can't even imagine not smoking cigarettes. Who smokes? Anyone smokes? Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
I haven't smoked for a month or something like that.
Okay, so but a person who's a smoker, they can't even go there in their mind, the idea of not smoking. It's so hard. It's like, how would I do that?
2 months ago.
That's moody.
Yeah.
But
I want to smoke.
but once we find out though that the thing that we're doing wrong is something external to us, that's a big chizuk. You appreciate that, It's a big chizuk.
No identification.
What?
No identification.
Exactly, that's the real issue. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so
It's like you said one time, I remember you saying that doing things now for your future self. You know what I mean?
we just said that just now.
Good. No, but it's the idea of smoking. It's like, I want to smoke now, but my future self is going to be really upset about that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's already a level of that's on your way to the shema.
I heard you say that one time. It resonated with me. It's
Yeah.
like, I want to smoke now, but 10 years down the road, it's going to really upset it.
You should look this up. There's a great scene from The Simpsons with Homer where he drinks like a bottle of vodka and a tub of mayonnaise. And someone says to him, "Don't do it." He says, "That's a problem for the future Homer." He's like, jiggling around. You see him later like going, I love that. Okay. That's so funny. I even have the sword martial art. I didn't even look at this
There's
yet.
thousands of people, by the way, that probably tried that, for sure.
Well, actually, after they saw that,
Yeah, it was like
I'm sure.
amazing.
I'm sure. Okay.
That's why the up in my neck.
So now, This chapter, he actually goes through the different kinds of Gehenna. And it's really fun because like I've told you this before in the Tanya, yeah, and you can take it to the bank, that he goes to all the different avos and years, yeah. He spends from chapter 41, so chapter Mem Aleph to chapter Nun, goes through all of the avos and years. That's the chapters on Kavanah, yeah, 9 chapters, long, hard chapters. Yeah, he talks about years Chait, years Roimimus, years Boishus, yeah, he calls it years Chetzonius, year Tatar, year Elah. Then he goes he talks about Ava Rabba, Avas Oilam, Nafshi Visicha, Kabara, all different man Kapanim Aponim, yeah, Karif Shpei Eish, all different Avas, all different years. He doesn't mention year Sa'oinesh once. Not once. In the whole, but he mentions the Oinshim. Yeah, he says if you speak Lashon Hara, you go to Gehenna. If you speak Dvarim B'Teilim, you get Kafakela. If you don't do mitzvahs Asa, you go to Gehenna Shasheleg. Yeah, he says all that. Yeah, but in no place in the Sefer, I know I can say that pretty well. He doesn't say in the Sefer anything about Yiras Oynesh. That's not one of the years he talks about. Yeah, that isn't a Yiras Hashem. That's a Yiras Oynesh. Don't get hurt. Who wants to get hurt? Yeah. Question is, in our generation, because we've become so sophisticated, none of us really believe in Gehenna anyway. Yeah, so it just doesn't help anyone. Anyway, but he goes through the different Gehennas here, yeah, and that was one of the things that the Misnagdim who are against Rav Manis talk about. That Rav Manis says there's no Skar and Oynesh anymore, which he never ever said ever, Bichlal, yeah. But he just says it's just not poil anything. No one cares anymore. No one cares about Skar. No one cares about Oynesh. Yeah, just. People have become, we can serve Hashem Lishma now. It's available to us. Avodah Lishma is available to us. That's what he said. But anyway, so he talks about the different Oinshim. There is some nice things to learn from here, but I want to finish off now the last 10 minutes talking about learning Chochmas Umois Olam. Yeah, that's how he finishes the chapter. He dedicates maybe 10 lines to this idea. If you know Tanya well, yeah, you'll realise that 10 lines from the Alter Rebbe is volumes and volumes and volumes of in the Chabad library. Volumes and volumes. One line can be volumes. Yeah, 10 lines is like literally maybe it'd be its own library. Yeah, it's huge, huge. And he's like, what he says here is okay. So we'll try and give it over very quickly, and I'll tell you how I know Halacha L'Maisa. Halacha L'Maisa is, the way I understand it again, is that there's no heter to learn Chochmas Umois Olam if you could be learning Torah. If you've got koyach and mind to learn Torah, then what you're doing learning Chochmas Umois Olam. That said,
as a recreation.
What?
As a recreation, as a hobby.
As a tainug unto itself. As a tainug. No, for sure. Yeah. As a tainug. So yeah, that was
important. You want to learn,
you enjoy it. You enjoy
15th
it.
century.
Or even midas or anything. If it's for the tainug of the limud, yeah, then that is your.
But if it's something you don't know how to get out of the Torah.
So now anybody who knows me knows that I give over a lot of things. I've learned a lot of stuff from the Umois Olam, and I don't think I would be much of what I am now, if that's anything, if it wasn't for the things that I've learned from the Umois Olam. But I can literally say, except for like 1 or 2 books, that everything I've learned from the Goyim has been in the toilet.
Right, but let's say you don't know how to get it from the Torah. There's psychology.
Well, I didn't say that you can get these things from the toilet. I know Midas books in Goyish and Midas books, yeah, that once you know the idea, right, you can kind of tease it out of Pirkei Avos with, if you put in the Rabbeinu Yonah and the Rambam, maybe. Right. Yeah, I know. So I'm not saying I'm not saying that. Okay, but you have to establish if it's mutter or asa. That's a different question. Right. Whether it's helpful or not helpful,
Well, that could be 2 different things. That's what I'm asking. Because let's say it could be helpful, and you don't know how to get it out of the Torah. Would that make it mutter?
so this is what we're saying, is that if you're learning it for the pleasure of the limud itself, as an end unto itself, that is not acceptable. That again, that's how I understand the halacha. But I'm not in any way opposed to it. That's how I understand the halacha. Learning in the bathroom when you've got nothing else to do, and therefore it's by definition a means to an end. You're just trying to pass time when you're in the bathroom, then it becomes permissible. He also says that it's Tuvia, What?
My name?
Yeah.
Yitzchak Tuvia.
Yitzchak Tuvia says, Yitzchak Tuvia said that if you're learning it for Panasa, you're learning to be a doctor, biology is Hakmas Oilam, and you want to become a doctor, that's mutter, to learn it outside the bathroom, and that will eventually be drafted into Kedusha when you're giving tzedakah, when you're healing Talmidei Chachamim and Yidden B'chlal, and then he also mentions actually, or sheyodeya lishtamash behen la'avodas Hashem, or l'soirasoi, or you're learning these ideas to help you in learning Torah. That could also be a heter.
Or printed Pythagoras book.
But they said he did that in the bathroom as well. That was
But he had to tell them to print it. The basic concepts of lines and shapes and.
So the learning things, like if you learn
Holistic.
No, holography. If you learn about holograms, you know what a hologram is? Like when you get a little picture and you kind of turn it right, it's like green and you can see it from all different sides. It looks like 3D, although it's on a flat surface. A hologram.
Star Trek.
Exactly, Star Trek invented it. Was it Star Wars? Either way. If you speak, I heard Rav Shatz, Moshe Shatz, he should be well. How is he now? Still not good?
I don't right.
He's in a wheelchair.
He's not back to his mind's back to his.
He's not back, but he's recovered.
Okay, he should be well, B'ezrat Hashem. So he speaks about it at length, and I heard him say. I heard him here from a shir. I listened to a shir for a long time. He said that he speaks to a lot of. He's very world. He knows a lot of science and stuff. He's very knowledgeable in every area, and he's a real sage, of Torah and of everything. And I heard him say in the shir that he knows Kisvei Arif very well, and he knows a lot of people like Talmidei Chachamim who also know Kisvei Arif very well, but they've got no yesodus in any science. And he said that without understanding how holograms work, your understanding of the Kisvei Arif is very limited. That's what he said. That the inyan of Partsuf, where every chalik is a complete entity unto itself and comprised of all the chalakim of the thing, before you've seen it in holograms, like Lemaisa, with pictures and diagrams and etc. It's all very. I mean, everyone knows what a Partsuf is. Every Kesser's made of all the Esespheres, etc. And each one of them, and you hear that. But when you see it in these Goyish textbooks, he says it just brings it to life in a way in an unimaginable way. I think that accounts for the story. Remember the story of the Baal Shem Tov when he splintered into 1,000 the Baal Shem Tovs? I think that's a reminiscence to the Indian of parts.
He comes to the sun. He says, "How do you know how to serve Hashem?" So there's a huge cliff out of nowhere in his dream, and the bottom at the top is, "Do you want to know how to serve Hashem?" His son says yes. So he jumps off the cliff and he splinters off into a billion Baal Shem Tovs.
That's a story. I didn't know it was a story. That's
amazing.
Wow. That means that the way I'm understanding the mashal is that means that every fibre of his body was mechuvan in a dava gush. So I gave techocha to a very nice techocha to there's a guy online who I know I'm very close with who has a big hashpah now. He speaks to a lot of people. Thousands of people listen to his shirim, and he's a very nice guy, lovely guy, and but he's very knowledgeable, but he's missing some very important ideas, I think. So he says to people a lot. He says, there's not you and Hashem. It's we exist in Hashem, and that's a really healthy step away from there's me and God. But you exist within Hashem. but it doesn't do it justice at all. The way in which you understand it, the most helpful way of understanding your relationship to Hashem.
It's both pantheism and panentheism, and another stuff.
You're talking to me?
Yes.
I didn't know what you said.
Pantheism. It's both pantheism and panentheism.
Yeah.
And other stuff.
But listen, we're saying a different thing, yeah? Which I don't know if there's a word for this. This is the way I understand it. It's not that there's you here in Hashem, yeah, for sure. Not that you exist in Hashem, but you are a cell in Hashem.
It's also more than that.
Huh?
It's also more than that.
That's another thing they call it. What?
It's also more than that.
It's also more than that.
Yes.
Okay, say it. That you're not nothing. Bichlal.
He's also in you, but he's also next to you.
So you
Just say it. But this idea of recognizing that you are a cell, so to speak, in His body, kaviochol. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, but it's not good to say. It's pantheism. It's not so good. It's that and also.
Just say it. I'm trying to improve on the idea that you exist in Hashem. Yeah, that when you understand, this is the point: is when you.
Are you understanding in Hashem that what you're saying is different?
So yeah, so I don't think it could be. If you say you're in Hashem, yeah, it sounds like you're within Hashem. But what we're saying in this idea is that you are a chelek of Hashem. That's what's called the chelek elekai mimal. You're a piece of Hashem. Not that you're in Him, you are of Him. It's a different. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. That's the point I'm trying to give out. So it's like you in the moshel. Yeah, you are a composite of 50 trillion cells. No one cell could go alone, could go it alone. Take any single of those 50 trillion cells and you say to him, okay, now I want you to get on with it, yeah? He'll just be dead in a few moments, yeah? Now that's exactly the same, that's called an organism, yeah? You're an organism. An organism is made out of 50 odd trillion cells. Let's say a human organism made out of 50 trillion cells. What's the difference between that and an organization? Same word, yeah? An organism is a very, very compact organization. If you look in the biology books about an ant colony, you'll see they refer to an ant colony as a single organism. An ant colony is composed of foragers, soldiers, nurses, builders, the queen ant. It's a whole thing, yeah. It's a whole empire. It's an organization. A warrior, yeah, would starve to death. A forager would get killed by predators. Yeah, nurses none of them could do it by themselves. It's exactly the same idea as a cell in your body, but they're just not as compacted. So you see that line of ants, yeah, going through your, you see the line of ants? If you want to think of it conceptually, that's not a line of ants, that's a tentacle from the ant nest. Exactly, it's mamash. It's just if you're caught in the graphics, then it's just a bunch of ants. If you're a chassid, yeah, then it's a tentacle from the ant nest, yeah. So that's reality on writ large. That we are cells. Each one of us is a chelek of reality. Reality is called Hashem. You know? So now, if a person is off, if a person develops his own agenda, what's that called? When a cell has its own agenda that isn't in line with the agenda of the organism?
Rebellious.
Huh?
Rebellious.
It's
Narcissism.
yeah, the machla.
Sultan.
That's what cancer is. Cancer is a rogue cell. A cell that develops its own. Exactly. We do. It develops its own agenda and it starts doing something negative the organism. Yeah. You can have malignant. Is it malignant where they're not doing? No, malignant. Benign. So benign means he's a good guy. He's not like into Avodas Hashem, but he's like doing his thing. He's benign. He's his own thing. The only reason why he's not doing Averos is because he grew up in a nice town and he doesn't really care about Averos. Yeah, that's benign. But malignant, what's it called? Metastasizing. Yeah, metastasizing. That's when he becomes actively negate the organism. He's doing his own thing. That's mama shit. Tshuva is, in a sense, chemotherapy for the Rebbeinu Shalom. Kivyochel.
Have to get a haircut for it.
You know that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We never a straw, and we never on that one.
You should do that. But that is what. So tshuva is not like a process of of return to innocence, of letting go of the of all the baggage that I've accumulated and all the schmutz. Yeah, tshuva is a boiler shoilim. You don't deserve this. You're going through tsar because I'm not in alignment with you. That's like, like being the drunk in the house, the abusive father in the house, yeah? You're part of the house and you're causing everyone to suffer. That's, pull yourself together. It's not because you're a schlepper. That's not what tshuva is. Tshuva is a big taking into account the Rabbeinu Shalom and realizing that you are out of line. So to just finish off the problem with learning, he actually goes further with learning the Chochmas Chitzonius, that it's worse than like discussing baseball results, yeah, which is not Chochmas Chitzonius, but it's just shtuyot, yeah, but it's not a mitzvah. Is that the Chochmas Umos Olam, or Chochmas Chitzonius, involves your Chabad. You have to use your mind, and your mind is much more delicate, and so when your mind is involved in things that are just permissible for their own sake, yeah, that leaves a roshem on the system more than if your emotions are involved in something and your mind doesn't have to be involved in it. So that's what he comes out by saying at the end, is that it's worse to be involved in learning Chochmas Umos Olam if it's for their own sake than it is just talking shtuyot with your friend. They're both asa, they're both bittul yeah. But engaging your mind in a permissible pleasure for the sake of the pleasure, and I would probably think that would go for things like Sudoku and crosswords and all that kind of stuff, yeah. If it's for the pleasure of the thing, again, if you're doing it for a minute to relax yourself, whatever, okay. But if it's just the pleasure of the thing that you're doing it for, then I would imagine that, I don't know, I would imagine that goes into this idea, is that using your mind for pleasure, for your own selfish pleasure.
They play chess. Chabad, no?
Online, yeah, but that again, that's what I'm trying to say. Again, if it's the what's
that's also that for a reset. Right?
What's the night called? What's the night? Nittanach. That's a nittel. But again, like I was saying, if it's to go for a game of pool, yeah, at a kosher place because your mama's going nuts because you've been learning for you've been really too involved.
You want
yeah?
a professional pool shot.
That's the point. If you just you love pool and you're like you really need to learn and you could learn, but you keep running to the pool. That's what we're talking about.
For the glory of God.
So that's the idea here. Is that the learning Chochmas Umas Olam always need. This is the final. This is the final. The final line or whatever. The what?
Bottom line.
The bottom line, how I understand it, is that learning Chochmas Umos Olam cannot be an end unto itself. That's the point. If you're learning it for midas, if you're learning it to understand Torah, if you're learning it to get a little break, yeah, then that can be very, very good. But if you're learning it for the pleasure itself, that's causing a lot of bayot.
Just one question. Is man said that this applies also because, let's say, a person is man in this generation, you never know in a few years if you bump into somebody for the sake of Avodas Hashem, and the more you never know when you could use it. So even if it's man this applies.
I mean, in response to what you just said,
where like everything. You never know, just never know.
But that wouldn't give you a heter to. I mean,
do whatever you want.
Yeah, you do what you want, but that doesn't give you a heter to. Just because it will be useful. I mean, if it's going to be useful, you're going to end up learning it. But you're not doing it. But again, like I said, if you're learning it, yeah, it's like I'm about Shura, yeah. For 21 years, I learned Aleph Beis at 21. I didn't keep Shabbos until I was 21 years old. Yeah? I did all the Averos there are, I think, until I was 21 years old. Yeah. How much that's helping me and Olam and Am Yisrael now, because I did all that stuff. You can't do it in the first place. So it doesn't give. It will be used if you're a good guy and your mama's linked in with Hashem and you're doing. You can't help yourself and you've got that. book on math that you keep learning. Yeah, eventually it will be. It will.
Revolutionary War. I have no reason right now to remind myself about the Revolutionary War. But can't I always just say to myself, you never know?
Are you?
And therefore, it could always be fun.
Oh, I hear what you're saying.
You just never know. You could bump into somebody in a year from now on a bus, and because you have that knowledge of George Washington once again, you could be Makar that person.
So then you're not learning it. You're learning it just for general knowledge. So you're saying like this: I'm learning it just for general knowledge because I know that that's a quality that people appreciate, and I might bump into a guy, and that's going to be my kind of shit.
That's what that's
Well, then I don't know, but according to what you're saying, that's. But according to what you're saying, that's not an end unto itself. You're learning as a means to an end to be a more knowledgeable, choshev person.
If you're thinking that there might be an opportunity to use this.
You can start studying Buddhism